So, if you don't know, Adam Silver has given Jontay Porter of the Toronto Raptors a lifetime ban for changing the outcome of games by betting on himself. Let's go to them for the video.
So, Tyler and Leslie, what we found out is that the Raptors forward Jontay Porter allegedly bet not only on basketball, but also on his own team. DraftKings had said that prop bets for Porter for a couple dates earlier in the year were the biggest winners that day. The NBA said a league investigation found that Porter violated league rules by disclosing confidential information to sports bettors, by limiting his own participation in one or more games for betting purposes, and betting on NBA games. The league says Porter intentionally limited his play against Sacramento March 20th, claiming he was sick. What's more, he allegedly told someone ahead of time who then used that information to make an $80,000 parlay bet. It was not paid. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver previously had called a lifetime ban the ultimate extreme option at his disposal for discipline. Clearly, he felt like it was necessary here. This is the first time an NBA player has received a lifetime ban for gambling.
I was thinking this. I can't think of another player who's received that other than Pete Rose. And he was then a manager for.
And Pete Rose had gone on the record to say he was not gambling on the Reds.
On the Reds.
Right,
yeah.
Exactly. But there's been other Shohei Ohtani. You've got issues about Iowa colleges and the Temple betting irregularities. And all of this, I think, combines to bring a level of attention and scrutiny on the legalized sports gambling.
Ohtani has been cleared, though, by the investigation.
Yes, it was his interpreter.
It was his interpreter who was betting heavily.
Listen, I agree that an example needed to be made. But a lifetime ban, that seems a bit too much to me. But Adam Silver felt like he was going to have to make an example out of someone, and Jontay Porter seemed to be the perfect person to make an example out of in this situation. Why would you say that? Because he only made $2.3 million in a stretch of 3 years, right? So he isn't a big box player. My first question when I heard this going down is, who is Jontay Porter? You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of us thought that. He's a kind of low-level player who won't make or break a team. Doesn't mean a lot. It's easy to be like, hey, get him out of here, right? So this was an easy player for Adam Silver to drop the hammer on. But what if when it becomes, somebody huge, the face of the league type of thing? I hope you ain't going to get the same result. Because, listen, y'all knew what y'all was getting into when y'all started intermingling gambling into every part of every sport. It's on every commercial, DraftKings, it's on every that, you know what I'm saying? It's on every sports podcast, and every sports thing got something to do with hooking you to gambling. So y'all knew that when y'all wanted to decide that the underworld couldn't get all the profits out of this sport, and that y'all wanted a piece to, you knew that promoting this in and around every part of the sport was going to be a risk to having some players gamble. It just is what it is. You should have been more prepared for this to come along, but I think this was the chance for them to show some muscle. But come on, let's keep it a buck. If this happened to one of the biggest players, and trust me, I'm not a fan of the gambling, all the, the throwing games and all of that. Because, when you as a sports fan feel like you got robbed, it is infuriating. Bring tears to your eyes. But not only that, but when you figure out that there may have been foul play behind you y'all team getting robbed or whatever, it gets even more infuriating. You know what I'm saying? Infuriating. But I want to say this also. Are y'all going to bring the hammer to the referees that have been accused of doing this before? Because if we're going to keep it a buck, Jontay probably, they said he won about $20,000 off of this. Peanuts, right? When you look at how much he could have made if he had an extended long NBA career. You know what I'm saying? But he was attempting to make, they say in a report, he could have made up to $1.1 million if he had won a certain bet that he had placed. So given his salary, some people could understand why he was trying to win that million. But that's how Vegas gets you. They build casinos off the losers, not the winners. You know what I'm saying? So he just shot his shot for the million and ended up getting 20,000 and lost his NBA career from here on. But he ain't the only one that's a culprit in this, though. It's been referees that have definitely, over the years, caused way more damage than this. And they've been gambling. They got proof of these guys and taking bets and doing this and throwing games. And where's been a lifetime ban for these guys? You understand what I'm saying? Where's been the lifetime ban? Are you going to start uprooting the seats of some of these owners when they decide to throw seasons down the drain? Because that effectively is what this is. You know, when the owners start you start getting that call from up top, you know what, sit this guy, sit that guy. The NBA had to implement minimums of games played so that it would affect the bottom line of their contract, the next contract they sign. Or these MVP awards and stuff like that. You know, you get MVP awards, you get bumps in pay. You play so many games in the season now, you're able to get your max contract. If you don't play that many games, you can't get that max contract. So now it's incentive to stop sitting players for no reason. And we know that players, you know, you got the lottery who is kind of trying to keep this from happening, where you get, you know, the lottery inside the top 10 picks, but, you know, it still seemingly ends up falling where it's supposed to fall, I guess, every time. But in what I'm trying to say is that there's a lot of teams who decide, you know what, we ain't the best team this year. We ain't in a position of getting that top draft pick neither, but I want to get as close as I can get to it. Let's start sitting players. Let's start doing this. Let's start pulling this and doing that to make sure we lose the rest of this game. That's the same thing that Jontay is doing here. Can we keep it a buck on that? Like, that's throwing a game. That's knowingly pulling out players that's healthy, sitting them for no reason, acting like they sick, putting them on an injury reserve list or whatever you got to do, right? Switching up the lineup to purposely get losses, to get you closer to getting better picks, to set your next season up, to put more money into your pockets. It ain't essentially a one-night bet, but it's the same thing, because the public loses money not knowing that you're tanking. Are you going to start uprooting some of these owners when they do this knowingly? I'm just saying, man, we got to keep it a buck. Now, I'm not going to not hold Jontay accountable too, because, bro, you worried about the wrong thing. As much time as you could have spent putting into your craft to get you a better outcome and better money, like, you are one of the players that are good enough to have made it to this level. And you're good enough to not only, you didn't even get the league minimum, you know, contract. You was good enough to get a little better contract than that. So you got enough to get you there. Why not put the time and energy and effort into pressing the gas and doing what you got to do to get a better contract instead of worrying about this gambling? But I will say this. I can't remember who said this, but players will tell you that gambling, somebody said this, some famous athlete said this on a podcast, that gambling is like the next best rush that they get, compared to like the in-game moment where it's like, oh, give me the ball to shoot the final shot. You know, give me the rock to go do this, or let me make the play. They get that same rush from gambling. And you can see one of the greats, Michael Jordan, was a big gambler, you know. He's in a lot of players. They go to casino and they bet a lot of money on other things. But I'm just going to say, just like I said earlier, y'all knew that placing this much availability to gambling in and around the sport was going to run y'all into this exact problem. I mean, it's like placing a child in a store full of candy and expecting them not to eat one, especially after they've had a taste of what it is. You understand what I'm saying? It's just, we know the problem is going to be here, and I understand. I'm with Adam Silver at trying to do the best you could do to contain it. But I think it's too far gone now. It's like, you know, all you can do is try to contain it. But lifetime ban for this young man, I think it's too much. Should he have done what he had to do to focus on bettering himself, yeah, I'm never happy to see players cheating like this, because I don't want to be on the losing end of that just fandom or that bet, right? That's why I don't bet, because it ain't, betting. They build casinos off betting, right? They don't build it off the winners. They build it off the losers. So that's why I don't bet a lot. But I'm just saying, this is we know this wouldn't be the same result if it was somebody like a LeBron or a Kevin Durant or something like that. So, or even like the younger up and coming, faces of the league, Anthony Edwards, players like that. You know what I'm saying? What is going to be the real angle at tackling this problem? Because if it really happens to a franchise player, I don't think a lifetime ban is going to be in order. But y'all tell me what y'all think. It's your boy P Camp. Let me know what you think. Get at your boy.